بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It's Ramadan 1445. Could there be a more beautiful Ramadan than with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? From the previous lesson, let us extend the concept of the visual surface. Just as we can view others through the ego, heart, soul, or sir, we can also derive our own self-image from the same spiritual surfaces. This concept is difficult for most people to understand. What does it mean to love yourself? In the modern world, this question has taken center stage, but the answer requires us to first understand the meaning of yourself. Our true reality is the reality of the soul. It is a knowledge of the self's prophetic potential that is ever present in the background of our temporal existence. So, while most of creation derive their worth by placing the self-image in the ego, thinking that through worldly accumulation they append value to themselves, what is actually happening is that with every step of heedlessness they are taking away from God, their soul loses worth in its own sight. Your soul already knows you, and it won't allow you to be anything less than what God wished you to be. But it is the ego that deludes you into settling for less. Arrogance is therefore not an inflated sense of self, but in fact, a deflated sense of self, because our real self is lofty and noble and true and beautiful and brave, and no matter how hard the ego tries to lull the soul to sleep, it remains the part of us that knows us better than anyone. And this is where the concept of the soulmate comes from the belief that our soul is our true identity, and that we actually already know ourselves, but that the nature of this world so effectively fogs up that pristine persona of who we were meant to be, that all people are looking for a soulmate to mirror for them who they really are, just so that they can love themselves. This is the meaning of the Prophet's words, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, في حديث الصحيحين عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه: الأرواح جنود مجندة فما تعارف منها ائتلف وما تناكر منها اختلف. The souls are the battalions of the celestial realm. Those of them who recognize each other find belonging, and those who do not match find dissonance. This hadith is the basis of the soul's love, or what we call love for the sake of God. At its root, it is a love of our own souls mirrored in another soul. In fact, our incomplete vision of our souls is the basis of why we need social connections, and why companionship is so essential to our fitri and faith-based development. And furthermore, it means that through the closest human connections we form, we find ourselves. And so, the crumbling of these connections poses a severe spiritual threat to ourselves and our coming generations, because the Adamic is intrinsically linked to the Abrahamic and Muhammadan, and any attempt to sever these Quranic facets on an individual or communal level will eventually shred our souls to pieces. So, when the pure blue spiritual sky is fogged up, we look to the Quran to find our souls. This is why it is called a shifa, a cure. The Quran is your soulmate. وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. Surah Al-Isra, verse 82. And so, when we turn our faces to God, and the sun of revelation dawns upon the heart, the fog of the soul's sky dissipates, and we see the most magnificent, majestic, glorious, resplendent, brilliant thing the inner eyes could ever perceive. الذات المحمدية, the Muhammadan essence. صلوا على الحبيب الأعظم، شجرة الأصل النورانية، ولمعة القبضة الرحمانية، وأفضل الخليقة الإنسانية، وأشرف الصورة الجسمانية، ومعدن الأسرار الربانية، وخزائن العلوم الاصطفائية، صاحب القبضة الأصلية والبهجة السنية والرتبة العلية، من اندرجت النبيون تحت لوائه فهم منه وإليه، والحمد لله رب العالمين.